One. So just going to start the recording. And today, again, we are talking about um, raw past and what it is going to be in the future. And you're going to hear from folks who have been through raw before and what we did and why we did it and what they got out of the experience. So, today, what I want to do is I would love to have all of the participants here just share a little bit about themselves right now to kick us off. Liz, can we start with you? Who you are, where you're from, and anything else you want folks to know about you, but it can also be as simple as if you're an ice cream flavor, what would you be?
Okay, I can't think that hard that quickly on an ice cream flavor, so I'm going to go with what I know. It's easier. I'm Liz Summers. I have was joined Raw back in 2000, so I've been working with Alicia for many years, and I found it to be terrific. I am an almost empty nester. Our daughter is going off to college next month. We are also moving next month because let's keep it interesting. Have just I'm in transition basically, which means that's when things like Raw are so helpful for me. I married, have a daughter and a dog, and I do group facilitation, and I have found this group to be. Do you want me to talk about why Raw is important? Is that what I'm doing here
Not
now,
yet,
or
not
not
yet.
yet?
Just who
Okay.
you are,
So
just who
just
you
so I am.
are.
So I currently live. I lived in North Carolina for almost 30 years. Have been up in Eastern Pennsylvania for about the last 7, and I'm now moving back to North Carolina, which I'm really happy about. So glad to see all of you here.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you for being here and for sharing that. Allie, can you share a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, I'm just fighting the emotions right now, seeing
Right?
all the
Same.
faces that I have not seen in so long. Um, so I'm Allie. I live in Easton, Maryland, and I'm a mom of 2 boys. And if I were an ice cream flavor, I'd be coffee, because why not have coffee in every aspect of your life? Um, I'm also an author. That's the other thing about me. And yeah, that's what I've got.
Awesome, awesome. Allie, thank you so much for sharing. Jade, can you share a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, maybe ice cream flavor?
I am Jade, and I'm from Mankato, Minnesota. Well, that's where I live. And ice cream flavor is very difficult for me. I love ice cream, but I don't like chocolate, so nothing chocolate flavored.
Oh, how did
Maybe
I not know that about you?
I think you did, and you just forgot.
Maybe I blocked that out purposefully.
Most people do. Yeah. But something interesting about me is I have 8 animals. So if you come on to Raw, and I'm facilitating, I will guarantee that you will see an animal or two because they cannot not show their faces. They just love the camera. So that is me.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Chandani.
I'm Chandni. I live in Greensboro, very close to Alicia. And I think I also joined Raw in 2020, but I've been doing stuff with Alicia, like attending her stuff, Wise Women panels and all of that since 2016, so almost 9, 10 years. I work as an integrations analyst at Suffolk University. It's in Boston. I have a 4-year-old, and I'm going to have another one in December. So that's exciting. And I don't care for ice cream as much, but if I have to, then I would be mango sorbet.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Monica, how about you?
Bonjour tout le monde. My name is Monica. I recently moved from New York City to Switzerland. So I'm currently navigating life, not really fitting in the States. I was just back in Wisconsin, where I'm originally from. Um, and now I'm back in Switzerland and I'm somewhere in the middle. So, like Liz mentioned, transitions, navigating change. Um, if I were an ice cream flavor, really tough, but I gotta stick with chocolate peanut butter. It's the American in me that, chocolate peanut butter it is. And I have been participating in Alicia Land for many years, and it's a place that I am always thrilled to be, and I'm very happy to be welcomed there.
I'm so glad all of you are here. Monica, thank you. I'll just share, for those of you that are just new to Alicia Land, as actually Deanna, who's on the call right now, I see coined the term a while ago. She's also a past Raw participant, and I'm so happy to see your face. You know, I want everyone to show up as they are, how they are. I started Raw in 2020, pre-pandemic, and it was a way for us to take a moment to pause in the mornings to write our morning pages, to have accountability to do it, to be creative, have space to do that creativity, and then to have space to share what came up for us during that time without judgment, without advice being given to us, just to have space held for us. And because it was in the morning, I didn't want anyone to feel any pressure. So I was often in my pajamas. It was often before I'd brushed my teeth. It was, no shower, bedhead, whatnot. And I thought I would be real and show up today as things are. So I am, 8 days post or 9 days post a lumpectomy, and I've had some complications, and I'm just not feeling great. And so I'm showing up in my bed in my bedroom because we would talk quite a bit in the past about bed days, and so this is the reality of what Raw is like. It's about real. It's about showing up and doing the work and being in it as we are, but making a commitment to ourselves, making a commitment to our creativity, making a commitment to our spirituality, making a commitment to each other and community. And so that's how I'm arriving here with all of you today. And it just feels so right. It feels right to be with you. It feels right to be doing it in a way that feels so incredibly authentic and true and real, and to just show you the messy middle. I tried to be a little bit more polished with our call on Monday, and it just didn't feel as authentically me as as I wanted it to come across. So I'm hoping you'll see the reality of how we all show up and what we do for each other in this. So, Raw was a little bit different when I started it in 2020. As I said, it was first thing in the morning. It was very early. The 100 days of Raw that we're launching, which we'll tell you more about on Friday, that it's going to be at noon from 12 to 1:30 every day, Monday through Friday. It will just be that hour and a half, and you will be encouraged to just show up as you are. If you can be on camera, be on camera. If you can't be on camera, that's fine too. You won't have to share if you don't want to share, but you can share. And I wanted to give you the opportunity to hear from people who've done it, who've been there, what it meant to them, what it did for them. And most everyone here who is going to be talking to you is going to be either doing or facilitating or both the experience coming up. So you're in touch with the people who are committed to doing it again or want to be doing it again with everyone as their calendar allows. So Liz, I started with you last time, so I'm going to start with Monica. Monica, I'm going to put you on the spot, but I'm going to ask you to share a little bit about where you were before Raw and what you experienced in Raw. And yeah, we'll start there. If you could just share a little bit about where you were before Raw, what you experienced in it.
So where I was before Raw was, I would call myself a chronic dabbler. I would start something, especially morning pages. I would journal a little bit. I wouldn't really jump in. I'd maybe do it for 2 days and be like, oh, whatever. And I also noticed that in other areas of my life, the more accountability that I had, the more I was regularly showing up for myself. But the thing that I was really able to carry out of Raw and into my everyday life was really how to listen and hold space for other people without trying to jump in and give advice. And for me, this has been so, so valuable. I feel like a lot of times when someone comes to us with a problem, we're like, let me help you fix it. To hear all of these women sharing their experiences, sharing their stories, and being able to say, wow, I hear you. I acknowledge that. I hold space for you. How do you want to be supported? Has really led to some magic in other areas of my life. I mean, it's brought me to Switzerland. So that I think to me was the biggest impact I was able to see. Also just in terms of creativity, giving myself permission to try something, keep writing, see what comes up, and really have that space with no judgment to share what was going on for me was awesome. And that's why I can't wait to join again.
So glad you're going to be a part of it. Thank you for sharing all of that. Allie, I'm going to jump to you next, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about where you were before Raw and, what did you love about the experience?
Okay, so life since 2020 just always feels like a blur for me. But I was very much postpartum depression prior to joining Raw. I was in the thick of that. And Raw was a big part of me finding myself again.
Mm.
And I learned that I am somebody who thrives in a like hive mentality and being around other women and feeling supported by complete strangers, quite frankly. Um, I was probably in like a pretty rough place pre-Raw. Um, and yeah, have basically been able to find myself over and over again many times. And I'm definitely a dabbler as well. And not the best like finisher on things. Um, but I think that for me, the thing that I love that I got out of Raw the most were the friendships that I formed. Um, which is why I get emotional when I see everybody on screen. It feels like coming home. So
Yeah, I mean, you said you got on these calls with complete strangers. And for anybody that's like, yeah, am I going to get on a call and am I going to write morning pages with a whole bunch of strangers? We quickly became family. And I know that's going to happen with this upcoming group. But I'm wondering, what did that feel like, Allie, to have, what was that experience like of being on with complete strangers when you were in the throes of postpartum depression? And I don't even know that you would have called it that at the time.
no, I wouldn't have called it at the time. I was kind of unaware that that's what I was in. Honestly, I was like intimidated by it when I joined. Um, it was so freeing
Mm.
because I didn't know anybody anything. And the more I listened to other people and the more I was willing to open up, I realized that there were others that had experienced or could relate, whether they had had postpartum depression or whether they were even a parent or a mother. Um, that didn't matter. There was still an ability to connect. And I think that that was the really powerful part for me.
Yeah.
The walls came down quickly for me.
Yeah. And I know that a lot of people would say pretty often a common thing that I would hear from Raw participants when I'd say, "Oh, tell your friends to join." And I'd hear people say things like, "I don't want my friends to join because this is mine." And so it became this thing that was very closely guarded and folks became very careful about who they recommended it to, so because it was such a sacred space to feel into and experience with other people. And so it became a very closely gated community.
Yes.
Yeah, so beautiful. It was like self-guarded, I think, in such a way where, if you ever hear about like some sacred text, right? Like there are some texts out there where it's talked about that they're like coded, right? Like what that looks like is you can only get out of them what like I'm reading this book called I think it's called like the Kybalion, not the Kybala, but the Kybalion, and it's this sacred text, and it's technically coded, right? So I'm only getting like a sliver of it, and I know as I'm reading it, I really can only comprehend a sliver of it because I'm not ready for the full amount of it. And I think Raw was kind of that way. It was a little bit coded of, if you're ready for it, you'll feel the call and it will call to you. And what we're saying will touch your heart in some way. And it Raw felt protected and coded in the way a sacred text was coded as well. Like those who are ready for it and want to experience it and have that experience will find it. So thank you. Um, Chandani, can you share a little bit about where you were before Raw and what you got out of the experience?
Sure, yes. But I would echo Ali and Monica on what they said, but I would also say I don't even remember where I was before Raw because like pre-COVID, but I know that I had some depression. I was just struggling through, but I mean it all feels like a blur. But I feel like through the Raw, like I learned so much, not just from Alicia, but also from like everybody who was in it. It just gave me a community that I feel I never had. I learned like so many things, like you rise by lifting each other, and then just listening to everybody speak was like, even if I'm not the one sharing, then I would get so much out of every session. It just became that sacred container that I wouldn't want to miss every morning. And I could see the difference. So I feel like, without like extending this, but I feel like I was able to find myself, like my interest and what all is possible. Because before that, I didn't know anybody who had their own business or who would write, because that's how everybody I know is an engineer or something like that. So just to even see that people can switch careers and do this, and just listening to everybody's voice was so soothing. So I don't think I can comprehend in words, but it was just amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Jade, how about you?
Well, for me, before Raw, I honestly can't even, I kind of like Chandani, I can remember, but I can't believe who I was before Raw and now. As an introvert, a writer introvert who ran my own business at the time, I was also working for a company that really did not treat their employees well. And I didn't have any friends, honestly. I mean, I had friends, but like, I'm in Minnesota with my husband. We're very introverted. We have no family nearby. We don't have children. Our animals are our children. So it was a very lonely existence, is what I'm trying to say, is that even for an introvert, someone who really loves spending alone time, I was lonely. And I felt different. I've always felt different, but it wasn't until Raw that this group of beautiful women accepted me, not only for myself, but for my gifts. And I'm starting to get emotional. It was different than anything I'd ever experienced, being accepted like that. And then making the friendships that I did. I mean, my best friends came from Raw. The people I talk to every single day came from Raw. The people I want to work with in the future come from Raw. So to say that it's an important place for us is an understatement. It really changed my life.
Yeah, changed mine too. Thank you. Liz.
Hard to follow that. I will say we had just moved to Pennsylvania and I knew no one in 2018, summer of 2018. So when the pandemic hit, my husband works for a college, so he was working like crazy. My business of group facilitation just stopped, and we had a child in 8th grade. So Raw initially was just my time where I have an hour to myself. Nobody, unless somebody's bleeding and out or whatever, like leave me, like this is my 1 hour for myself. And it was an important, because I've learned to take time for myself, that's okay, right? That I'm better if I take that time for everybody else when I take that time for me. I was thinking of all the other things. Community was the number one thing. I am an extrovert, and so community is important to me. And I will tell you that I didn't know online that you could become so close. When one of the last times I was in Greensboro, I can't remember who it was, but I saw someone who I wasn't expecting from Raw in person, and I just fell apart because I couldn't believe it, because there was this instant connection. I think learning, as someone mentioned, learning how to hold space. I think Monica mentioned that. That's a gift that I've taken throughout my other parts of my life. It helped me get clarity. And also I do not do well. So I don't do it, but I don't do well journaling on my own. So to have the structure and place to do it, because otherwise it wouldn't happen. So the structure and the schedule really helped. But I think just overall, I've become more confident. I speak up for myself more, and I have more clarity. In addition to what everybody else said about friends. And it's really, for me, been a huge part of self-discovery and feeling more myself in my body, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
it's been a true gift.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. One thing I wanted to just touch on, I think Chandani mentioned it, like the collective wisdom. I'm not sure who said it, maybe Chandani. I also got so much from everyone, and that's kind of the point. Yes, I'm facilitating, but in all of the work that I do, my biggest belief is that each and every one of us holds a tremendous amount of inner wisdom. And that just strong intuition that we can tap into, that strong inner wisdom, when we are able to tap into that and then be given space to speak it out loud, we are our own gurus, and we are our own teachers, and we are each other's teachers in certain circumstances. And one of the wonderful things about Raw is that it gave space for everyone to share their wisdom with each other. And that, to me, was one of my most profound takeaways, because it had been something that I'd been felt like I was preaching from the rooftops in my coaching work, but I got to see it in action every single day in Raw. And that was something that I'm very excited to have back in my life with the upcoming 100 days of Raw. And just hearing all of you talk about it, I'm getting just so excited about what is coming, because Raw was such an anchor for so many of us, and it's really time to open it up to more people. It's time to experience it again. And as I said, it used to be that Raw was Monday through Friday, first thing in the morning, and there were 2 sessions, so people could do a double dose of Raw if they wanted to as well. But in this case, just to make sure it's sustainable and make it more time bound, because, you know, with the new cancer diagnosis for me, making sure that things are sustainable, making sure that things have a beginning, a middle, and an end is really important. Making it more of like a container that you can pick up and then put back down is very important. That way there's time to recharge batteries, to reimagine things, that when what is working, what's not working. And one of the things that I'm most excited about that's going to be different about Raw coming up is the way I'm bringing in at least one facilitator a week that's not me, because I think it's really important to hear other voices besides mine facilitating, and to have just different perspectives and different energy, and just different perspectives, different, like that type of diversity is really important. because it can get boring and it can get monotonous and repetitive if you do everything one way. So we're switching it up. We've got some exciting things. Even during that 100 days, I'm facilitating a retreat in France. So I'll be gone for a week. So you'll have a whole week of different facilitators that week while I'm gone. And I know because as I've been on different parts of healing projects in the last couple months, I've had other facilitators facilitating some of my group work. And those sessions, I know folks got so much out of them because it made it more interesting. It made it accessible through different voices. Um, but that all of that said, the next question I have for the participant, for all of you participating in the panel, I'm wondering if you have anything about your raw experience, any stories that or lessons that stood out to you that even, over a year later still noodle on or think about. And this one, I'm wondering if anyone has something off the top of their head that's sticking out that they would like to share. Yes, Liz.
I know I mentioned this, but I think the holding space was just because I'm definitely a jump in and fix it kind of person. And so learning to hold space was a big lesson for me. And to not only, so to practice it, but then also be the recipient of that. To have a group like this where you share a struggle you're having or an aha that you're having, and to be held that way, to see it both ways was very profound for me.
Jade.
My favorite days were when we pulled a card and all of us would either went, "Ugh," or we went, "Oh, this is a good one." Because it tended to be like that. Like if we got a card like 3 times in a row, we'd all be like, "Come on, can we just get a different one?" But if there was like a really deep card, we all also felt it. And it was just fun to kind of be in that collective energy together.
The synchronicities that we would see happen were just tremendous. And at Raw, with Raw at that time, the way we did that is we would start off by kind of opening the space with Sage and then we'd pull a card as a group and it would be an oracle card and we'd use that as the jumping off point for our prompt. So we'll be doing some of that in the upcoming Raw, but we'll also be doing things like, because we have more time, I'll be sharing like essays from other people and or excerpts or poems or whatnot, and we'll use those or a daily reader or something like that to jump off from. And yeah, I'm really curious to see that was, I think, one of my favorite things about Raw too. We're seeing the synchronicities that just happened so much. Yeah. All right, who else? Yes, I'll go Ali, then Chandani.
So two things come up for me, and the one is that I don't know that I would be a published author today if it weren't for the support and the time and the belief that I received in Raw and like how that flowed into every other aspect of my life. The other thing is when I say I found myself again in Raw, I started doing a lot of personal inner work because of Raw. And that allowed me to be honest with myself in a way that I really struggled with. I am currently a year and a half separated from my husband, and that is not because of Raw. I was just able to connect with what I needed because of the work that I was doing personally. So those are the two things for me.
Yeah, I don't want to scare people, but it does, a lot of honesty and truth gets revealed when you're doing the personal work of journaling daily and showing up and having truthful and honest conversations with other women committed to doing personal development work. And sometimes we ring bells that you can't unring.
Hmm. And it also came from other stuff that I have done with Alicia one-on-one and some real deep work, but I went to all of those places because I had a safe container in Raw. And so it just, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Chandani.
I think Ali said kind of what I wanted to say, but just to add on, I feel the biggest thing for me is was also coming to myself and being okay with who I am, because I would hardly speak initially and I would just always be so self-conscious. And I think it just being around such supportive women and doing journaling every day, it helped me be more self-accepting, be more me, that it's okay. I don't have to speak perfectly. I don't have to be this or that to be accepted and loved by people. So I just, and also knowing what I truly want and knowing that there are so many things that I can do beyond what I'm doing right now. So it was through journaling, through listening to everybody else, through seeing, like just talking it out and just sharing, I feel. So
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, Monica.
I was going through a really tough time, both personally and with my job. And, I was living in New York City, and a lot of days my commute would kind of conflict with Raw. And I just had one day where, like, I knew things at work were going to be bad. And I messaged Alicia and I said, I really just need to, like, feel the community and feel grounded. I'm going to be on the ferry going to work, but I'm just going to listen in. And really just being able to, Alicia read that to the group and just let them know, and being able to feel the support from everyone else helped me ground myself, helped me know that no matter what I was going through, I did have this community that could hold space for me. I didn't have to explain what I was going through to my boss or people at work that I didn't feel comfortable with. I had another support system to find that grounding, to find that space, and to really in that moment to show up how I could. And how I could was crying on the ferry on the way to work. But I felt so supported. And that is something that really truly helped me get through a very challenging time.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So we are going to continue with panel things, but for anybody who's just joined, or if you haven't already, please, if you're listening in, share in the chat box where you are, who you are, and if you're thinking about joining the upcoming 100 days of Raw. As I said, we'll be talking about all of the details about it, and I'll answer all of your questions about it on Friday's call. So know that that is coming. But just if you're thinking about joining us for that, we would love to know. We would love to hear. So panelists, I'm curious, what are you most looking forward to coming up with this Raw reboot? Monica, you're like smiling, are you?
I'm so jazzed for this. When I read the new format, first of all, I'm super excited because for me it's 6 p.m. I'll be able to get off work, I'll be able to be home and really be present. But I love the idea of having some journaling time, but having more dedicated time for I'm really pushing myself on some creative practices. And I actually bought a book that was 100 days of sketchbook prompts. And I already have it all planned out. I'm going to follow along and do that. So I'm really excited to have the accountability, to have the support, and honestly, really to have the community. Going back to what Liz was saying earlier, and also what Jade was saying, I'm a bit of an introvert and living in Switzerland where I know my husband and my colleagues, and I'm the outgoing American. So it's really nice to know that I will have this wonderful community in my life again. I cannot wait.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Who else? Liz.
push the wrong button. I'm thinking of it as a grounding because I feel like right now I'm riding this tumultuous wave of all good things, but it's all happening at one time. It's a lot. Selling a house, buying a house, renovating a new house, moving a kid off to college. She's got all her emotions of leaving her high school friends. There's a lot happening. And for me, the transition and just everything. So to me, I sort of think of it as this my safe spot or my landing spot. I know I won't be able to make it every day, but knowing there's that safe harbor for me and something that if I'm going to need it, I always need it, but especially this next window of time. So to me, it's like my life raft is sort of how I see it, in a good way and a way for me to make sure I don't get lost in this wave of stuff that's happening. So that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Monica just said raft, like raft, like raw raft. I love that. That's fantastic. It is like that. Jade, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just still that's amazing. I'm gonna lift that. That's great.
Very punny.
It is very punny and I really like puns.
Me too.
What am I looking forward to? God, everything. But mostly it kind of like what Liz says, Ra's a touchstone for me. So, of all of my faults, sometimes getting back to people and reaching out to people, sometimes with Ra, it's like you feel less pressured to do that because you know in a week you're hopefully going to see someone, or you're going to, dedicate time to dealing with that thing, whatever thing it is. So that feels really, it's nourishing too. It's like a nourishment part of the week or the day to kind of be with your people, get your shit out on the paper and learn to deal with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anyone else? Allie?
I've kind of said it already, but for me, I'm looking forward to coming home because that's what it feels like. And anytime I felt like I was, I don't want to say like spiraling, but like it's the best word I can think to describe it. It was usually when I had gone like a couple weeks of not attending Raw. And it was like that revisiting was always like the tether that pulled me back and was like, oh, I'm a better mom when I've attended Raw. Truthfully. So yeah, coming home.
No, I love that. I love that so much. Chandani.
I have a standing meeting, like my boss recently scheduled a standing meeting at 1. So I was thinking that I won't be able to, but now I think I don't have a choice. I'll have to enroll.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can like eat lunch and whatnot from 12 to 1 and
Yeah.
yeah, and then jump
And
off.
ask her to maybe move it or just see how it goes. So.
Yeah. I mean, one of the great things is this will be recorded and it will be put up within about 48 hours of each recording each day. And so you can listen to it like a podcast. It will not stay up indefinitely. So it's going to go up during the 100 days and then I'll leave it up for probably about a week afterwards and then they'll go away. They'll be done. And the reason for that is because, personal stuff gets said and that it's recording. People share very, very personally and deeply. And I went even back and forth on whether or not we should record or not record for this upcoming session. And I landed on will record and you'll be able to listen to it, but it just won't stay up there indefinitely because folks do share very, very raw and very personal things, and there are oftentimes tears and big emotions, and all of that is okay. So is joy and excitement and like anger and frustration. Like it is all okay in this space, but it does leave me with a pretty big quandary of to record or not to record. But we're going to record and just know that anyone who's in Raw, even some people choose to just listen and be a lurker. And lurking is okay as well, although you'll get more out of it if you come and participate. and show up and show your face on the calls and or not even show your face, but just show up and be there and listen. You'll get more out of it, I think. But it is like if you go back and listen to it, it's like you get a little daily podcast of what's happening and what's going on in the community during that time. Um, I personally am looking forward to having the daily touchstone. I mean, that has been so, a year and over a year and a half since we stopped Raw. And I still often wake up and wish that I was jumping on a call with this community, with the Yoke and Abundance community, with the Raw community, with people who are committed to seeking. And what I what I find really interesting, so some of you might be thinking, well, I don't like to write, or maybe you have a different creative practice. So we had a watercolor artist who didn't want to write, and she would watercolor during that time. We've had people art journal during that time. So the way the format of Raw begins is we will come together and we'll all turn on our cameras to start if we're able to. We light some incense, we sage, we say a little like coming together incantation type of thing. It's not an incantation, I don't even know what to call it, but we'll say something to bring everyone together. And I'll share an essay or pull an oracle card. We'll give a writing prompt or two, and that prompt, you can use it as a writing prompt, you can use it as a creative prompt, you can ignore it. You can just sit and meditate for that time if you want to. There's really not a wrong way to do it. And that writing time is going to be about 35 minutes, give or take. And then we will spend the rest of the time talking about what came up for us. I mean, that was the thing with Raw. It was an hour. So we had like 30-ish minutes of 25-ish minutes of writing and then 30 minutes of talking, and we often needed more time. And I would like us to be able to go a little bit deeper in the prompt, like I said, with an essay or a poem or something like that. So you'll have more time because it's an hour and a half. It just gives us more time for community. It gives us more time for connection. It gives us more time. So I'm excited about more time. I'm excited about essays and poems and hearing what the other facilitators have and not being the only one facilitating. So if anyone who is listening to this panel has questions for me or the panelists, please drop them in the chat box and I'll see if I can touch on that. And in the meantime, I'm curious if for those panelists here, if someone is on the fence about joining 100 Days of Raw, what would you tell them? Allie.
Do it. Don't hesitate.
Why?
You won't regret it. Even if you show up like once a week, I promise you won't regret it. I mean, there were times when I would go like a week or 2 weeks, or I would think that other things were more important in my life. And every time when I would come back, it was like, oh my gosh, I did not realize how much I needed this.
Yeah.
So you'll get a lot more out of it than you realize, even if it's just every couple days.
Yeah. Thank you. Monica, I saw your hand go up.
I was gonna say jump in because your life raft awaits. Couldn't resist. I think being able to jump in and commit to something that's really for you, not knowing what you're going to get out of it can be really scary, but also so magical. You don't know where this path will take you. And don't you want to find out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you, Monica. Jade.
Yeah, kind of going off of what Monica said, if you're going to do something for yourself this year, do this because there's no better way for you to find yourself again, or if you never find yourself, period, than doing it with journaling and a group of women who are going to be with you every step of the way, no matter what those emotions come up with.
Thank you for that. Chandani.
I was just saying what Ali said, do it because you'll not regret it. You'll be
Yeah.
completely worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for all of you that took time out to be on the panel, thank you for sharing your story and your experiences with us. It just means so much. For all of you who joined us, I'm so grateful that you jumped on today. It was so nice to see either your names pop up or those of you that have your cameras on. It's so beautiful to see your faces. It just means so much to have you with us here today. And I hope that your gears have started turning about joining us for Raw. I will share everything on Friday. But if you are just in and you want me to send you more information now, shoot me an email. Respond to any of the emails that I've sent this week and let me know, and I will send you the registration information. But we'll be going over all of the details on Friday. I'm really excited to open the doors up to Raw once again and have us start this experience with each other again. So thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, let me know. But I am looking forward to seeing all of you again on Friday if you're able to make it, and have a great, great week. Bye, guys. Thanks so much.